PlayStation is entering a new chapter, and Sony's top executives have just shared a rare glimpse into what comes next. From early PS6 discussions and cloud gaming strategies to live service experiments, multi-platform publishing, and direct competition with Xbox and Nintendo's Switch 2, Sony's roadmap is starting to take shape. But are these changes really what fans have been asking for? Or could they signal a repeat of some missteps from the Jim Ryan era? Let's break down the big picture and what it means for the future of PlayStation. And by the way, if you're looking to play the latest titles without paying full price, GameFly lets you rent physical games and have them shipped straight to your door. Hit the link in the description to start your free trial. The next generation, PS6 and beyond. We've reached the midpoint of the current console generation, which means talk of the PlayStation 6 is beginning to surface. In recent interviews, Sony's leadership, specifically CEO Hideaki Nishino and PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulst, offered new insights into how the company is thinking about the future. And based on their comments, it's clear that a next-gen console is coming. But Sony isn't in a rush. They're thinking long-term and they're being strategic about what the next step should look like. Cloud gaming versus physical consoles. Nishino addressed the growing interest in cloud gaming directly. When asked whether it might replace traditional consoles, he responded, "Cloud gaming has become an increasingly additional option for players to access content, but we believe that most still prefer to play and experience games through local execution, without depending on network conditions. I believe the PS5 and the PS5 Pro validate this thesis." In other words, while Sony is experimenting with streaming, they don't see it replacing physical consoles anytime soon. This is especially relevant for regions with unstable internet infrastructure, places where cloud gaming simply can't deliver a consistent, reliable experience. For Sony, hardware still matters. Players want performance, control, and ownership, and the PS5 ecosystem continues to support that. Sony versus Microsoft, a different strategy. Sony was also asked about Microsoft's broader strategy, especially around cloud services and Game Pass. Rather than challenge it directly, Nishino acknowledged that competition has its benefits. He said, and I quote, "Competition in the sector is healthy and pushes us to innovate. Several players together move the industry forward." This suggests Sony isn't planning to copy Microsoft's model. Instead, they're continuing to refine their own approach, focusing on premium console experiences rather than day-one subscription services. With Xbox struggling to grow hardware sales and leaning heavily into service-based content, Sony sees its commitment to traditional platforms as a strength, not a weakness. Another major player in the conversation is Nintendo. The Switch 2 has launched with strong momentum, selling over 3.5 million units in just 4 days. When asked how Sony views the renewed competition, Nishino kept it measured by saying, "We monitor the market, but our strategy is differentiated. PS5-level performance is necessary to provide a great experience." It's a polite but clear message. Sony respects what Nintendo is doing, but they're focused on offering higher-end, immersive gameplay through cutting-edge hardware. The Switch 2 may dominate the handheld market, but Sony's current focus remains on delivering powerful, narrative-rich games for a home console environment. Multi-platform growth on PlayStation's terms. Sony also weighed in on one of the most discussed trends in gaming, the move toward multi-platform releases. According to Hulst, PlayStation will continue expanding to other platforms, including PC, but with caution. In practical terms, that means you'll likely see more PlayStation exclusives arrive on PC, but never at the expense of the console's value. PS5 will remain the home of the best and earliest versions of these games, at least for now. Live service strategy, success and setbacks. One area where Sony is actively evolving is in live service games. While the company is best known for single-player blockbusters, Hulst confirmed that Sony remains committed to expanding into online multiplayer experiences. He pointed to titles like Helldivers 2, Destiny 2, and MLB The Show as early successes. Helldivers 2, in particular, is being treated as a proof of concept. It continues to attract strong engagement, and more than half of its revenue now comes from microtransactions, a key metric for live service profitability. Concord and the need to adapt. But not every live service project is landing well. Concord, another multiplayer title with a heavy promotional push, has been widely criticized for failing to distinguish itself in a crowded market. Sony acknowledged the disappointment, and Hulse noted that the company is reevaluating its approach to similar projects moving forward. His kind of course correction is necessary. It shows that while Sony is exploring new revenue models, they're not ignoring fan feedback, and they understand that live service games require a very different kind of development and community support.
To make their strategy clearer, Sony has now divided its studios into 3 core groups. Single-player focused, Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Santa Monica Studio, Sucker Punch, Housemore, Team Sobe, and Firesprite. Live service focused, San Diego Studio, Haven Team, LFD, and Bend Studio, which is currently transitioning. Hybrid or multi-genre, Guerrilla Games, Polyphony Digital, Bluepoint Games, and Media Molecule support studios like Nix's and Valkyrie round out the portfolio, while external partners like Arrowhead, Helldivers 2, continue to play a key role. This structure makes Sony's intentions much more transparent. The live service push is real, but it isn't replacing single-player development. Instead, both approaches are being pursued in parallel. AAA expectations versus reality. One of the boldest claims from Sony's leadership came from Nishino, who said that the company aims to release at least one major AAA game every year. It's an exciting promise, but also a difficult one to fulfill. Modern AAA titles often take 4 to 6 years to complete, especially when developed with cinematic storytelling and motion capture in mind. Unless Sony has a long lineup already in late-stage development, this goal may be more of an aspiration than a consistent schedule. Still, it sets a clear bar, and fans will no doubt be watching closely to see whether Sony can maintain that pace. Final verdict. Sony's recent statements paint the picture of a company confident in its identity, but also aware of the changes happening across the gaming industry. Rather than chase trends, they're sticking to their strengths: powerful hardware, high-end visuals, and emotionally resonant single-player experiences. At the same time, they're experimenting carefully with cloud technology, PC publishing, and live service games. When something works, like Helldivers 2, they scale it up. When something doesn't, like Concord, they reassess. This measured, almost surgical approach is a departure from the more aggressive strategies we've seen from Xbox and others. But it's consistent with Sony's long history of building trust with its core audience. That said, execution will be everything. Delivering a new AAA title each year will be a massive challenge. And if the balance between single-player and live service tips too far in the wrong direction, it could weaken what makes the PlayStation brand so unique. The future of PlayStation is still being written. But based on what we've seen so far, Sony seems determined to protect what made it successful while slowly evolving for the next generation. How do you feel about Sony's direction? Are you excited for the PS6 and their focus on high-end games, or concerned about the shift toward live service? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next upload.